What's up gamers, Jim here, and let's talk about the new Stadia update coming to Android. Stadia 2.19 Android version was released into the store, but it's not publicly available yet at the time of recording this. 9 to 5 Google made a teardown of this new update and shed some light on some new features found within the code, and also some already known features with more development put into it. I'm going to go through this article in order. First up, the APK teardown mentions that the Android mobile support for Stadia will have less restrictions, if not at all. What I mean by that is that your Android phone will most likely be able to play on Stadia even if it's not officially supported. However, because it's not officially supported, you may experience performance problems during your mobile gameplay, and the Stadia app will display that message to you if it doesn't officially support your mobile, but yet let you play anyway. I think this is a good way for Google to start testing on more and more Android phones when the feedback and data they get from unofficial support phones used by the gamers and start working on improvements for those phones. If I had to take a guess, I wouldn't be surprised if it limits to being Android 10 only. I say that because Android 10 was the first Android version to have Stadia optimizations in the background. But then again, I think it's possible that the limitations could go down to Android 8 or 9, but your gameplay experience will vary. Moving on to the second feature found, this is the Stadia experimental features. This one caught me by surprise because I never knew this even existed. So, judging from the little information given, this is a setting that you'll be able to turn on in the Stadia settings app, and then you'll be able to beta test upcoming new Stadia features. I think this is going to be a really great feature because this means for us that we will get to play and use new upcoming features even sooner rather than later. Now for the third feature, it's touch controls. Yes, touch controls are coming to Stadia, but that's not all. There are two different types of touch controls coming to Stadia. One of them is a virtual touch gamepad, and the other one is a normal touch input method of gaming. So let's talk about that in more detail. I'm going to start with the virtual touch gamepad. This is a feature that already exists on GeForce Now and Steam Remote Play. During the last year before Stadia was even released, I used to play GeForce Now on my mobile and always played Crash Bandicoot and Insane Trilogy with the touch controls. It worked really great because a game like Crash Bandicoot, you don't control the cameras, so my thumb was never on the virtual right stick and it was focused more on the action buttons instead. This experience was great and I was able to play Crash Bandicoot effectively. However, if I tried a game like Destiny 2, it was pretty much unplayable. Obviously, this depends on everyone's skill on how they use and play with touch controls. That being said, there was a moment a few months ago when I was outside and we were with my friend and we were discussing Destiny 2 and I wanted to change my gear and show my gear to my friend. It wasn't possible on Stadia due to lack of touch control support. So even though I wasn't planning to play Destiny 2 outside, it would have been very useful to have touch control support so I could show my friend my gear and change some while at it. The other touch control method is touch input support. This is something a game developer needs to support for their games. What this means is that it's literally like a mobile game. You'll be able to touch the game itself as if it was a mobile game. So imagine Nintendo Switch games. There are some games that support touch input on that platform. I'm going to give a bad example. Imagine Mario Kart 8. In that game, you can use your finger to touch the menu of that game and play around with the settings instead of using your controller. Maybe a game will support touch input fully or partially. It depends on the game itself, and of course the developers will need to support it. Next up, it's Party Chat. Party Chat has been available on Stadia since day one. However, it was never implemented for Android. Well, now there's evidence that the Android support for Party Chat is in further development. Moving on to the next feature, it's trials, demos, and free weekends. Now, trials and demos is something I've already discussed and made a video about a few weeks ago. If you like, you can check that video out. I also talk about pre-orders and wish lists in that video. Free weekends are a really big deal. We've already had 1 or 2 games on Stadia that were free weekends for other platforms. From the top of my head, I think those games were Division 2 and Ghost Recon, but I could be wrong. The community was upset that those games were free on other platforms for a few days, but wasn't on Stadia. Personally, I wasn't shocked that we didn't get the free weekend games because the features like that aren't ready yet on Stadia. But at least now we know that it's eventually coming to Stadia, hopefully soon. The article also mentions that there will be some demos that are exclusive to Stadia Pro. And finally, the last feature mentioned is upcoming sales. The teardown mentions that we will have a summer sale, back to school sale, and a holiday sale. Noticing the summer sale, we're pretty much very close to summer anyway, so we can expect the summer sale in 1 or 2 months. And I just want to quickly mention, oh my god, what a week! Like, come on. What a week for Stadia. There was so much news this week. 6 Stadia Pro games coming in June, 1440p support, games being updated to 4K 60 FPS, which are Crew 2 and Lost Words, which is a fantastic game by the way, and I've made a first look video for that. Thank you for watching my video. This is Jem, and I'll see you on the next one.